If you believe football is still about passion, not just stats, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Let's tell this story the way it deserves to be told. They don't have the biggest budgets. They don't play in the most structured leagues. And for years, Brazilian clubs were treated like underdogs on a stage run by European giants. But now, unexpectedly, 4 of them, Flamengo, Palmeiras, Fluminense, and Botafogo, have reached the knockout phase of the new Club World Cup. And not just by showing up, they've outperformed many of the tournament's favorites. This isn't a fairy tale, not yet. But it is a warning shot. Because despite financial gaps and organizational flaws, Brazilian football still thrives on something that can't be captured by spreadsheets: heart, instinct, and a refusal to give up. If this new format really offers a more open playing field, then maybe it's time the world started paying closer attention to what happens when underfunded clubs start organizing themselves without losing their soul. The new Club World Cup is unforgiving. Mistakes are punished. Time is short. Margins are thin. Brazilian clubs came in as outsiders. Smaller budgets, less infrastructure, lower expectations. Still, 6 wins, 2 draws, an 83% group stage success rate. According to the Rio Times, it was the best collective performance of any region outside Europe. It wasn't dominance, it was defiance. A style of football that plays like it has something to prove, like it's personal. And maybe that's exactly what the sport needs. This new format forces change. There's no hiding behind tradition or history. You need structure. You need preparation. And maybe this is the nudge Brazilian football needed to evolve. Luis Enrique, coach of PSG, said it plainly after his team was knocked out. Botafogo was the team that best defended against us in the entire season. They deserved it. That level of respect isn't handed out. It's earned by a new generation of coaches and players who train, adapt, and play with both brains and heart. Botafogo's coach, Renato Paiva, said something powerful. "The cemetery of football is full of favorites. I could play safe, but that would be a bigger risk in a competition like this." That quote captures a shift. A new mentality is emerging. One where tactics and risk coexist, where humility walks alongside ambition. Brazil knows it might not win this tournament, but it wants to show something deeper: identity, grit, resilience. The World Cup is a steep mountain, but Brazil's been climbing difficult paths for a long time. Even now, with less to work with, they still find a way. For too long, Brazilian football looked backward, idolizing the golden generations. But the global game has changed. Now, threats come from all sides: Tigres, Al Ahly, Al Hilal, Urawa. It's no longer Europe versus South America. It's everyone versus everyone. And that shift might finally free Brazil from its nostalgia. Because to compete now, you have to reinvent, not imitate. Palmeiras was once mocked for being too European in structure. Now it's praised for producing elite young talent. Fluminense, under Fernando Diniz, mixes control and chaos in a style that's earned global attention. Botafogo, with less money, built a team that held off PSG. That's not luck, that's progress. This isn't about copying Europe. It's about responding to the new world on Brazil's own terms. China Daily noted that all 4 Brazilian teams reached the knockouts. That's not just a stat. It's a signal, a sign of seriousness. This generation of fans grew up in the shadow of 7-1. They've seen Brazil lose. They've seen European dominance. But they also want change. They want legacy, not just memories. The new World Cup gives them a new stage. And Brazil has always known what to do with a ball and a little belief. Yes, the problems are real, but so is the awareness. And that's the start of any transformation. The fans feel it. They're more informed, more engaged, more demanding. They want their clubs prepared, not just for state championships, but for the global stage. That change begins at the roots. Brazilian youth academies have started producing again, not just talent, but discipline, mentality, preparation. Names like Endrick, Vitor Roque, and Estevão aren't just promises. They're proof that Brazil's long-term investment is finally showing results. This tournament demands a blend of science and soul. Data, yes, but also heart. Brazil still struggles with structure. But if it can balance instinct and method, it can truly compete. It's like a samba waiting for arrangement. Brazil has always had the melody. Now it needs the orchestra. For years, improvisation ruled, but even that magic has limits. Now, clubs like Atletico, Fortaleza, and Red Bull Bragantino are showing that structure isn't boring, it's necessary. Brazilian football is still emotional, still unpredictable. But now it's becoming intentional, and the professionals are catching up. UEFA-licensed coaches, data analysts with global experience, physical trainers from top leagues. There's a shift happening behind the scenes, and it's closing the gap. Brazil always had the fuel, but finally, it might have the right engine. Fans still treat this tournament like a World Cup. They watch every minute in the middle of the night with the same hope. Not because they expect miracles, because they believe in the journey. This could be the start of something real. A chance to rebuild the link between club, country, and supporters. The World Cup is no longer just about legacy. It's about future. And Brazil has never known how to live without dreaming. If you still doubt Brazilian football, just look at what it produces. Endrick, Roque, Estevão, no hype machines, no elite budgets. But flair, hunger, genius. They weren't shaped by Europe. They were shaped by struggle, by street football, by scarcity, by something you can't simulate in a lab. That's what makes them special. Brazil still creates moments the world re-watches, goals that go viral, stories that stick. The World Cup is a quiet stage, and Brazil knows how to make noise, with one ball and a bit of magic. Sure, the gap with Europe exists, but that's not the whole story. Brazil still carries something the world secretly envies: raw talent, fearless improvisation, and a love for the game that refuses to fade. We're not kings anymore, but maybe we're still poets. And maybe poetry is what this game still needs. If Brazil learns, adapts, and dares, it might not just return, it might redefine what greatness looks like. This tournament isn't just another trophy, it's a mirror. It reflects how clubs prepare, how they plan, and how they respond under pressure. And Brazil's response, while far from perfect, is starting to resemble something closer to maturity. A new professionalism, a willingness to learn, a refusal to settle. In the past, matches like these were viewed as events. Now they're challenges, with real preparation behind them. Brazilian clubs are investing in infrastructure, medical departments, tactical departments, slowly but surely building what Europe took decades to perfect. Even fan culture is evolving. Supporters analyze data, dissect tactics, and understand transitions and pressing lines. This cultural shift matters because football isn't just played on the field. It's prepared in meetings, in training centers, in scouting reports. And for the first time in years, Brazilian football is embracing that reality. The results may not always come immediately, but the foundation is starting to look sturdier. And for a country that has given so much to world football, this moment could be the beginning of giving something new. Not just players, but ideas. Not just emotion, but evolution. Because maybe the story isn't about catching up to Europe. Maybe it's about creating something different, rooted in Brazil, but ready for the world. In that story, the new Club World Cup isn't just a tournament. It's a test, a spark, and maybe, just maybe, a turning point. If you've made it this far, it's because you feel football the way we do, heart first. So score that off the pitch goal. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on the bell. There's a lot more story to tell, and this is just the beginning.